experience has a level time. The little spikes can take extra damage.
But he makes it through.
Wow. Don't save anywhere for him.
Oh! Muffin! Wilson! Wilson!
What are you doing? No, what are you doing?
No, still. Oh! Health reach! Oh! Health reach! I'm saving him again!
Guys, I hope he remembers that top left keystone, because that's dash, that's huge.
Oh, he forgot it! He doesn't remember. Oh no!
The Ori Randomizer Tournament 2018. We are in week 3 now, and we are got a very exciting match coming up. This is a very significant match, as whoever wins this match will have another chance to get into the bracket stage, and whoever loses this match will be out of chance to get to the bracket stages, but they will still have a couple more matches afterwards. So either of these runners could take this. It's going to be very exciting, and I am joined today by Aiko.
Hello. It is early in the morning, and we are excited to bring you another round of the Swiss Singles Tournament. This is a match between OG and Synyadriel, whose name I struggle to pronounce because my tongue is unagile. We're going to be starting the race soon, so a couple of quick notes. This is, as Matt said, the O2 round. Both of these runners, if they want to make it to the bracket stage, need to win all 3 of their games, including this one. We got some notes from these runners before we started, neither feeling especially confident. OG has said that he wants to make some changes from how he played before, including not being in the prologue when the timer starts and remembering to level up charge jump. Do you have anything you want to tell us about the runners, Matt?
Well, I'm expecting to see some very interesting strats from OG, as he tends to do a lot of master level strats, even in non-master situations. So could be seeing some very interesting strats from him, and I'm just hoping to see some very clean play from Sin, as that could be what makes the difference if OG is going to be spending time doing these extra long, difficult strats.
Yeah, OG famous for playing a lot more master difficulty randomizer than the normal difficulty, which can be a bit of a blessing and a curse, because when you know, a lot of the master level strategies are just harder to do and take longer to do, and because they're out of logic, stuff, it turns out, can be less fruitful in a standard seed, so sometimes you just have a bit of an issue keeping yourself from doing these like harder strats that take longer and aren't that fruitful. And this is a really interesting start, Matt. We've got 1 extra energy and clean water so far.
Clean water is going to open up quite a few extra pickups, like 2 extra pickups extremely early. So a couple extra chances for them to get something interesting. And with that extra energy cell, at the moment, it's just nice to have. Means they can take an extra safety save somewhere. But if they get something like Charge Flame, or if they get a couple more, then they can be in. Oh, we might have to.
We're
might be having to do a bit of a. Might have to do a restart of the race here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're gonna see what we can do to get this back on track. Sin is having some technical difficulties. Yeah, we're gonna restart this. Don't worry, we'll be using the same seed, I believe. With 3 pickups given, it's not enough information to really give any one runner a significant advantage over the other or anything. But we can talk while we're waiting for the reset to get set up about what is necessary, or like what we can expect to see from this seed given what we've seen so far, which I guess is not that much, but with clean water we can expect to see some maybe see something useful at one of the 2 underwater locations, and an extra energy so early might be an indication that our runners are going to go through the Death Gauntlet, although that is never in logic until either Blackroot Burrows or Wall Jump Tree is, interestingly enough. All right, so we're going to be setting up a new race. People can use that.
What we might be expecting to see with the clean water is we might also see some extra, can be somewhat annoying pickups to get that are normally gated by water. Maybe the Death Gauntlet, Energy Door, and there could be many other pickups that we could be seeing that are required by that clean water is required for. So and we could have some very significant pickups behind those.
Yeah, clean water is a little notorious for being a bit of a double-edged sword in that it's very good to have, especially for the final escape, especially if you don't have a lot of health. It is not so good in that when you get it early, it unlocks a lot of really obnoxious pickups. The long swimming section in Swamp, Valley Long Swim if you get Grenade and Stomp, Lost Grove Long Swim also if you get Grenade and Stomp. In fact, you only need Grenade, Stomp, Walls, and Clean Water for both of those to be in logic, and that is a real thing that can happen. We haven't seen it yet, but this could be that seed.
It could indeed. Could have we could have something like Bash gated in Valley Long Swim.
I think the worst I've seen though is not even Bash is down there. It's just you get those 4 skill, like those 3 skills and wall interaction and clean water, and then you can cover like about half of the right side of the map, and then you just don't find any verticality anywhere. And then what you find down there at Valley Long Swim or at the Lost Grove Long Swim is just double jump. And then it's so obnoxious because that doesn't even get you a go mode or anything. You just have to like go back and retrace your entire steps. Because now you can get the other half of those pickups and do the Genso tree and do like half a dozen other things, just because double jump is actually pretty good.
Yeah, the double jump being one of those pickups that is not really required for much. It barely unlocks anything in logic, but it's so nice to have, and it just makes everything so much cleaner and smoother to do.
Yeah, double jump's interesting because like on its own, like it doesn't feel like it unlocks much, but that's often because double jump isn't. It's a lot worse in terms of verticality than all the other options. But when it's all you have, there's still a fair bit you can do. And it's just something you can get a lot of mileage out of. And it's nice to have it pick this progression because you are more likely to get, if you find double jump, you're more likely to be given charge jump later than the other way around. Of course, you might just end up with neither. They're both in Horu. Come on, let's be real. Everything's in Horu, and no one has fun.
What we might find is that if we're getting pickups like glide and double jump really early, then since though they don't really unlock much on their own, it can just mean that other logic pickups are just forced quite early on, and then they can end up with a really nice skill set really early on.
Yeah. And I mean, I think because we did see OG pick up glide right before the stream cut, that does mean that we might be seeing glide early basically unlocks nothing on its own, but combined with wind, and glide plus wind is a common like path variant you see early, it unlocks like one thing right away and then a couple other things. The right side of the map, for people who aren't as familiar with the randomizer and didn't do a lot of backtracking when they played the base game, it's actually just full of random wind spots, and it can make a bunch of things like much easier to navigate. If they get the grotto teleporter, we haven't seen a wall-less wind glide wind grotto teleporter start, I don't think yet. But that's actually pretty cool because there's wind up and down that like main shaft when you fall into Gumo's hideout, so you can just drop in and then float back up. Check all the a bunch of pickups around there. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, with the teleporter pickups, we can get to lots of different areas with very very minimal skill sets that normally would never be possible. So if that does happen, then you tend to find all sorts of different random walls that you expect to be able to get up, but actually requires some form of wall interaction to get up because it's just barely the wrong height.
Yeah, that could definitely be a bit of a feels bad. Something a randomizer can do is just put you in situations where you're pretty sure you know what's going on, but it is just slightly different, and then you're just sort of dazed and confused. For those of you just joining us, this is we're having a bit of technical difficulty getting set up. Syn's graphics card crashed, and he is working on getting that back into a state where he can play the game. But it looks like we're pretty close to getting ready to start, and we will keep you updated as we learn more.
So Aiko, looking forward into the seed, where do you hope to see Watervein and Sunstone? What areas?
I'm torn. So on the one hand, I love watching just like absolute dumpster fires of seeds. I love playing them. I love watching them. Like, to me, the randomizer is most fun when you're just like sort of confused and wandering around thinking, what, why, how? But on the other hand, most people don't share that opinion, and I respect that. I don't want OG and Syn to not have fun. And it's very early in the morning. So you know what? I'm going to say I'm hoping we're playing secret limit keys. And that means I hope we see the Water Vein and the Sunstone both on ability trees so that you just don't have to worry about it at all. And it looks like we are about to restart this race.
Looks like the runners are starting up again.
All right, so predictions on this new and completely unseen seed. I think we're going to see an energy cell in the first pickup and then clean water in the second, glide in the first, and wind restored on the fourth.
You're going for the wind restored on the fourth. I'm thinking that it's gonna leave glide and it's just gonna forget that glide has even been given for a long time, and wind restored is gonna be buried somewhere horrible. That's what I'm expecting.
That's valid, honestly. We see OG taking a bit of a lead due to advanced prologue text, I think. Ooh, Syn misses that first jump up. That's always a little bit of a it loses you like a second, but it always just feels bad when it happens. You don't have wall interactions if you don't jump quite right. You don't quite get all the way up. All right, I am 2-0 on my prediction, or 2 for 2 on my prediction so far. We'll see how that fares when we get to information I didn't have beforehand. Yeah, I guess not much to say right now. OG's got color swap on. He's got that bright blue color, and he's drawing out 5-pointed stars, it looks like. Pretty sure that's a 5-pointed star.
For the first bit, don't really expect to see much of a difference at all between the two runners. Just very minor few seconds between them.
Yeah, not much of a divergence you can expect to see. Not much skill getting going on. I guess when I said the fourth pickup, I was opening myself up to a bit of a mistake, or a bit of a problem, because they actually have 6 pickups in Logic, the 2 in the water.
That's true.
Alright, OG doing a little rock dance. And he's going to murder the slime. How cruel. And this fourth pickup is Wind Restored. Called it! So that unlocked exactly one more pickup, which is that pickup over to the right of spawn. This is interesting. I wonder if we're going to see a keystone in the next pickup, or some kind of skill. So if we see a keystone here, we could see a keystone in the other one, but now this thing over to the right needs to be a skill or a teleporter. There are no other options.
Or it could be... Oh no, it can't be grenade because they can't get up to the top bit.
Well, I mean,
but they
grenade
can't
is
be
a skill.
the lower one as well. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, grenade would have unlocked the lower one. That would have been a funny little merry-go-round. of sorts, but no, it is in fact wall jump, and OG grabs it, and that leaves only Blackroot as their intended progression path. This is a very linear start. Yeah, Blackroot with glide and wall jump. I mean, they have 2 energy. That's nice.
It's a pretty comfortable version of Blackroot burrows because they've got glide to help them out to catch them if they make too many mistakes. But
yep,
even got 2 energy, so they get the extra safety save somewhat.
Yeah, the extra safety save I think is a pretty big deal. There's a crystal in Blackroot that drops 2 energy when you break it, and so you can even get like a full refill after doing 1 or 2 safety saves around here. Like if you were being really paranoid, you'd save here, and then when you got to the orb, you might save again because you're like, I really don't want to die. But glide is also really good for not dying, so I don't think we'll see OG making that second safety save necessarily. He's just gonna trust in his ability to jump, and he is back across and does a perfect first try. That little sequence of jumps he just did is actually trickier than it looks. And he finds a keystone. His UI was off, but we got that message now. So 1 keystone is not enough for him to continue progressing left. He will be looking for another one, but he's going to warp out of Blackroot anyway, as Syn is still entering.
We should be seeing OG heading up. Hope he might be going for the jump over the gap. See if we can get it first try. Should be pretty reasonable to do with glide.
Yeah, with glide that jump is pretty reliable. So unless he takes some surprise damage from a slime or, you know, anything can happen, but it's not a spectacular difficult jump as all things go. So I mean, I have failed it, so I can't really say anything. Oh, this is cool. I like what Syn's doing. He is using the fact that you can actually get a wall jump up, and he's using the fact that he has glide to come up here and check this EXP orb early. I like this. I like it a bit more if he did it when he was where OG was at in the like routing, because then you can skip doing the platform section to get up to where OG had to light that lantern. It's a cute little thing you can do with glide and wall jump alone. Nice little like 5, maybe 10-second time save because you skip a platform cycle, but it is the only real cycle you can skip with this skill set, and OG is doing the puzzle in the lantern room the normal way.
So I see that OG has got a ability point, so we'll hopefully be seeing him skipping the darkness cutscene, perhaps even going for the cutscene stack as well. We'll have to see in a moment.
Yeah. Oh, this is really interesting from Syn. He actually alt-Rs out after touching the orb without going back and grabbing that first pickup. That's something you'll see I've seen runners do when they have climb, but with wall jump it is less common. This might be really interesting. It could be good for Syn if what we don't see is 2 and only 2 keystone progression, but otherwise that'll be really annoying to backtrack to. Unless he has like a planned out backtrack route, which I could also see being a thing. Like maybe he goes down, checks the cell in the main room after the lantern's lit, and then goes back for that 1 pickup.
We do see explosion power upgrade from OG on the dash tree, which is an added bonus pickup. Oh, and OG takes a 1 frame death. It's an unfortunate death. There's not really much you can do about that.
Yeah, at least it was right next to an autosave. Oop, and that he maybe could have done something about those crushers. This is a bit of a sequence break to just like sort of trick the crushers. You're supposed to have dash here. You're supposed to get it from the tree, and you're supposed to just dash under it. We don't have dash, but there's a cute little trick you can do to jump over them. And as we saw before, those crushers can, as we say, 1 frame you, which is just where they sort of crush you on the way up for inexplicable reasons. Oh.
Now, we are seeing something quite interesting from OG. He is skipping the pickup, the ability cell, in the Blackroot main room. So both Syn and OG are skipping at least 1 pickup at the moment in Blackroot.
They both might end up being really unhappy if the progression is keystone in both those places. We'll have 2 people running around with 1 keystone and a bad time. Oh, well, there, OG bailed out by, well, not really bailed out, but his strategic choice to skip the cell in the main room has paid off because he has, in fact, both the keystone he needs, and after he finishes up this minor sequence break, which is not really a master thing, a lot of people do this, gets you the teleporter and an extra check. he will be good to go and ready to finally see what Glades has in store for us this seed.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we're seeing Sin doing the darkness cutscene to see if they go for the skip.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like they are. They're just going for the normal cutscene.
Yeah. And OG gets that Frankie to break that wheel. Okay, up to 5 health. That's actually really nice early. The early game isn't particularly deadly, but sometimes it can take you to places you don't want to be. If they get like stomp or plant access and have to check out valley entry, they can take a hit from the spikes and not die, which is a nice place to be at. And that's a third energy. That one's out of logic until they see dash and stomp, but it is a nice thing to have nonetheless. OG is now backtracking for that main room AC. It's a little out of the way, but for peace of mind and avoiding just getting randoed, like if that's charge jump or something. And I have seen charge jump there. He's gonna want to grab that. Slides right in.
He seemed to be signaling his energy cells, so he might have been suggesting that he's expecting it to be an energy cell so he could get into the Death Gauntlet early, but it was in fact a keystone. So provided Sin picks up that, he won't have an issue with skipping that earlier 100 XP orb.
Oh yeah, that will be really nice. So let's see what Sin does. Yeah, it looks like he's setting up for a backtrack down to that area. OG gets a little cutscene telling him that keystone doors exist. Normally in Rando, we're like happy if we get, or one of the things that's nice about a 2 keystone start in Rando is it means you can avoid doing that. Because if you drop onto that door from above and put the keystones in from the air, you don't see that little mini cutscene. We are not so lucky. All right, so yeah, Sin does look like he's doing that backtrack I was talking about. He is having a bit more trouble with that jump that I was talking about, but he gets it. And now that'll actually save him a bit of time. I feel like he's not going to bother doing the boulder escape, but we already know that's nothing. So that actually could be a real boon if, as it looks like it's shaping up to be, progression is just heading left here. And he's going to avoid having to handle that. Or do that boulder escape, rather.
It seems like we could be seeing that later on that the teleporter might make a difference, having the access to the Black Root teleport. If they get stomp and they can do a sequence break into Grotto.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's pretty much just a calculated time save by not going to that area.
It's definitely like I've seen arguments for skipping it when you're pretty sure it's not intended progression, just on account of it's like 30 seconds for 1 pickup in logic, 2 pickups out of logic. One thing I've seen that I like is someone say that what they want to do or how they like to handle it is they'll do it if they have a map stone to turn in down there, but not otherwise. And I think that's like a little risky. I think it's like completely reasonable. OG was trying to do the wall jump damage boost. There are 2 like damage boosts you can do to skip pushing this boulder. The wall jump one is considered to be easier than the climb one, but they're both like a little finicky. And it had been a while since he saved, so he decided to go back, plops down a save, and pushes the rock. I like that choice. I think saving and then going for the damage boost once or twice is also a little reasonable, but if you're looking to just like play calm and play safe, I think pushing the rock is a completely reasonable play.
And definitely, with how much Sin has caught up by not going to boulder escape, a single death would swap the lead quite easily. So we've got to be very careful here, because that could be one of the biggest time losses that they could have right now.
Yeah, so it looks like Sin is going for that damage boost, and he all right, well, he did plop down a save. So the way you want to do this usually is you want to run into it on the ground, but Sin did a bit of a jump first, and that ended up messing up the damage cycles. All right, so OG went down to Wall Jump Tree, and he got some stones. Specifically, he got a second keystone, which means he can now access Spirit Caverns, and Sin can't, because Sin did not go to Boulder Escape, so that time save may end up being a bit less important than we thought, and in fact may end up being really bad, to use a technical term. But we'll have to see what that mapstone turn-in brings, because that might be what the actual progression is, or it might just be a keystone, and that would bail Sin out a bit. Here
Yeah,
we
with
have
a,
it, and it is
it's charge
charge jump. Charge jump is a good skill, definitely a source of progression, but does it actually unlock
I
any?
believe it
Okay,
unlocks one pickup.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
no,
actually
two
hilarious.
pickups currently. Two
yeah.
pickups currently. Oh,
OG is checking one of them, and then the other thing it lets them get to is the pickup above the house, and it's another mapstone. Okay, so this is actually hilarious, but boulder escape is in logic with charge jump because you can jump over the boulder. So
so that
mapstone
means
2,
that mapstone now is in logic.
yep, mapstone 2 turn in now in logic. So Sin could, in theory, now just go to boulder escape for the first time and get the mapstone turn in with the knowledge that that's all in logic now. But we'll see. I still think I like OG's position better because he doesn't have to backtrack for that single keystone, and now he has charge jump going into Spirit Cavern, so we can check everything here too. And also, Spirit Caverns is an area with platforms that are laid out in an incredibly satisfying way to charge jump. You get to like skip a level or two every time, and it just gets you access to everything in here. So what progression do you think we're going to see coming out of this? Because their options are still pretty stifled, actually. Charge jump, very good. Surprisingly, doesn't get them much here.
I'm expecting to see energy cells. That's what I'm expecting to see, and then going into Death Gauntlet and through Grotto. But it does look like they have 4 keystones. So
yeah, I think 4 keystones is the path. All right, so I think we're just going to see Sin take the exact same path OG did, except at the end of this, he's not going to be able to head into Spirit Cavern. So we'll see what he decides to do. Oh, no! Takes a slime-related death, and he is all the way back at the wall jump tree. Oof. Oh, this is interesting. I think what he's going to do is go... oh, no, okay. He does not have charge jump. So this backtrack is a little difficult. I'm not sure that Alt R is necessarily faster, but it's a path of running through less enemies, so I can definitely like see that play. But unfortunately for Sin, based on what we know about what's available, unless the pickup above the 4th health cell, which is the ability cell up there, which is reachable with charge jump, if that's not a keystone, then Sin is going to be having a circuitous bad start to the seed, which is really unfortunate on top of the tech issues he's been having. OG skips that cutscene, now is going to head to the Charge Flame tree. Because he has Charge Jump, he can get out of... Normally, with these skills, Sans Charge Jump, he would be in a little bit of an oof situation, I like to call it, because you can't get back up without... And you can't, like, clear this area unless you do Hydra's cool trick where you despawn or do, like, a movement. Or sorry, if you save anywhere during the tree animation, you can walk right and pass through that wall. But with charge jump, you don't have to worry about any of that. And now we have OG with 4 energy. Interestingly, I'm not actually sure if that 4th energy, because he got it from behind the boulder, was in logic. But I don't think he cares about that. There are a few pickups he has.
It will be now because he has charge jump. So
he does have charge jump to get past the boulder escape, but I don't remember if using that Frankie to luring that Frankie to stop the pickup isn't, or to like stomp the wheel isn't standard. And I'm very sure that the cool trick that we saw recently, was it you who showed that off? The where you do the save anywhere and then charge jump and destroy the boulder instantly. I don't think that's in logic either, because it's a save anywhere.
Not logic. But what we are seeing is Water Vein is in Grotto, so despite this being a sequence break going into Grotto, I do think this is a really good idea from OG to go straight into Grotto, as since you need to be searching in Grotto anyway, why not make this one of the early areas that you search, try and find some progression in here as well as the Water Vein, double up your searches.
I definitely like this play. Going into Grotto without plant access never feels great, but with these skills, they can check basically everything else: clean water, 4 energy. And as far as the sequence break goes, I think it's pretty minor. I think given there were like only 1 or 2 places OG could check. So I think as long as he goes back there later and confirms that there was an energy cell there and not some incredibly important skill, he's going to be fine. He's doing the bridge cutscene. He does the save anywhere a little later than would be optimal for any other skill set, but Oh, that's interesting. He doesn't save anywhere and then just sort of decides not to go through with it. Doesn't reload, but it's fine because he has wind,
Oh,
and that's the
Sunstone
sunstone.
too.
Ooh, okay. Well, that is a sunstone. All right. He decides he wants to grab the hanging plants before he goes all the way back up to the moon. Grotto. He does not. Okay, that's actually kind of funny. There's a little ledge you can get on there. Oh, this is interesting. I think we're not going to see him backtrack up via wind, and he'll just go back down later. Grabs a mega energy, putting him up to a temporary 9. He's looks like he's just going to make a beeline for the tree instead of grabbing the EXP and the crushers.
I'm not sure too much about this decision. I think maybe it would have been, maybe it's a good idea to, since you might be needing to clear all of Grotto anyway. Maybe not getting these. Oh, climb. Okay, that's very significant. Climb and charge jump is such a powerful combination, with being able to break stomp floors as well as side walls as well.
Yeah, climb and charge jump is a really nice thing to have just in your back pocket. It's not going to be immediately useful in a couple places. Oh, that is. Oh, wow. Okay, so they have climb, they have charge jump, and they have glide, and they have the sorrow teleporter.
And there's water vein as well on the tree itself.
You know, I remember saying I wanted a limit keys start, and you know what? I feel like Mapstone 2 is basically limit keys. So both our players have their Sunstone now that Sin has turned in Mapstone 2, and they're going to have their water veins because it's on the double jump tree. So it's really that does not feel bad at all, honestly. They have their keys, dungeon keys. So that's really nice.
And now it just becomes a case of how many skills can they get, and what's the minimum skill set they reckon they can finish with before they start running for trees.
I mean, they have clean water, so health in the escape is only a problem in so much as they don't want to, or whatever damage boost they need to do. And with the Sorrow TP, charge jump, and climb, they have, not only do they have, honestly, kind of free or free-ish access to the, there's like one part that's kind of obnoxious, but they have pretty good access to the charge jump tree, and from that Sorrow teleporter, they can just drop down into Valley. I'd be really interested to see if when these players acquire one or two more skills, like if one of these players picks up bash, dash, or double jump, I would love to see them just slam that Sorrow teleporter and just start clearing trees.
What's really helpful about having the Sorrow TP or having any left side teleporter is that since they don't have Stomp or Bash, it does actually make it possible to finish without Stomp or Bash, as normally the Stomp peg blocking access to Valley is something they can't get around without Stomp or Bash. But having a teleporter means that that's potentially one less skill that they need to finish.
Yeah, teleporters really mix things up in terms of like progression and where things can be. When teleporters were added later in the randomizer than a lot of other things, and when they were first added, it was not something that a lot of people were used to taking into account, so that was really fun to see. But by now, all our runners are pretty used to the fact that teleporters put a lot of things in logic. And honestly, I actually think Sorrow TP has put some things in logic even at this point, just because they have everything they need to interact with Sorrow. Safely is a strong word because it's hard to describe Sorrow as a safe place, but with glide and charge jump and climb, they can do a lot of stuff. OG is coming over here. Oh, no, the entire thing's underwater, and I think OG maybe forgot this. Unfortunate. The water level there is not level. It does not really follow what you would describe as physics. The water level on that left side of the pool room, much lower than it is over on the right. A little unlucky, because if it were level, you could get under that and charge jump up, but it is
yeah. And without having something to break the blue wall, which in this case has to be either grenade or charge flame, as you can't dash underwater, then without that they can't get through that way, so they'd have to go around. But they do have the possibility to go around and still get into the stomp area because of charge jump and climb.
Charge jump and climb, just incredibly useful skill combo. And we'll see OG heading up through into the Hollow Grove main room, also known as the Iceless area or the Corrosius area. And ooh, those spikes deal 3 damage, and then he gets poked. Sin on the right has now just gotten the charge flame tree, and he didn't skip the pickup above the charge flame tree, being more thorough. And what he found there was the grotto teleporter. So OG went a bit out of sequence going through Death Gauntlet, but he ended up where the logic wanted him to. And I think that, like, given where he was at that seed, I think what we're seeing is that was actually just a really good sequence break, because it turns out that a lot of things with their skill set would unlock Grotto, in addition to anything else. In fact, there aren't that many progression options that they had that didn't unlock Grotto. The only one I'm thinking of right now is maybe either Forlorn TP or Stomp. But most options, like double jump, would have unlocked. I guess double jump would not have. Either of the right side teleporters, any plant access, any energy, all of those things, if any of those had been progression, Grotto would have been unlocked. So OG perhaps was thinking that, okay, the odds of my next progression being Grotto are so high, it doesn't matter if I'm sequence breaking.
Yeah, and that plus the key location just means that Grotto is such a safe and great play. Oh, Grenade! That is massive for so many reasons. That, first of all, that gives us access to breaking plants and blue walls, which is something they've been lacking up to now. It gives them access to grenade jumps, which is an incredibly fast movement ability. It also gives them access to grenade locked pickups. So they've just gained a huge number of pickups that they can check.
Yeah, Grenade is a huge find there. That was one of those wind spots I was talking about when we were restarting the game. Just like right side of the map, wind, you just sort of glide right up there. There are ways to get that pickup without wind and glide, and we see those a lot, but glide and wind is a pretty good way of doing that. And we've got OG heading right into the Ginso tree. It is definitely doable with these skills. It is a little finicky. Charge jump, lots of verticality, not a lot of precision. It is less a like finesse tool and more of a, I did not know there was an energy crystal there. Wow, that is, wow. Okay, well, you learn something new every day. OG showing me a hidden part of the game I just did not know exists at all. Glad there's no pickup there, I guess. But yeah, charge jump is less of a precision tool and more of a 50 damage sledgehammer that also sends you rocketing into the sky. It does not give you a lot of horizontal precision, and sometimes you can have a bad time with it, but it looks like with glide and with OG's superior orientation and movement, I guess not superior compared to Sign or anything. Oh, OG circling the fact that he's on 3 keystones. This could be a little obnoxious, or more than a little obnoxious. If he doesn't find a keystone in the 5 remaining pickups that are before the 4 keystone door, he is going to have essentially wasted his trip here, which feels bad. OG is trying to do a charge jump, wall jump. This wall cannot be broken by anything but that projectile, so he is going to realize that this is one of those walls that was actually coded to work as intended, and then he's going to actually solve this puzzle the way it was meant to be. Over on the right, we're going to see Sin checking that Crusher experience that he was unable to check, or that OG was not unable but unwilling to check, actually, and he will probably also grab Climb very soon, so that will bring them back to skill parity, except for Grenade.
And then we might be seeing Sin most likely going down to Double Jump Tree and then finding the last of the major dungeon keys. And then that will put them at a reasonably similar spot, with exception to Grenade.
Yep.
But what could be quite interesting to see is, I believe it is now currently technically possible to finish with their current skill set. So we might, with OG going straight to the Ginso tree, we might be seeing him sort of do a semi-go mode towards trees and maybe hoping that he gets an extra skill or so on the way.
All right, well, hoping is
keystones at the
exactly
door.
What he just did. Yeah, he is. Looks like he's trying to do a key dupe, but I'm not sure where his auto, so you get an autosave from the mini boss, but that is not good enough, unfortunately, for key duping purposes. You need to go farther back from the mini boss. So that death actually sucks even more, because it puts him in a really bad spot, because he has to kill the mini boss and then backtrack to the save anywhere spot for this is actually 2 rooms further down in that spike teleport anywhere. OG is using grenades to kill this mini boss. Charge jump is better if the guy spawns above you, but because that's not guaranteed at all. We'll see if OG knows the spot for this key dupe and what he decides to do here. All right, he's going to
ult.
altar.
I think that's a very sensible play when he's got this many other trees and areas to check.
So looks like he made a honestly, he just made a gamble with that play, and it does not pay off, unfortunately. He skips the grenade pickups at spawn, which I think is a bit of an interesting choice. They're a little slow to grab, but I think they're probably worth grabbing at some point. We'll see if he just doesn't want to do them right now or remembers them later or something. Sin still doesn't have 4 energy, but he used a mega energy he found from 3 that put him up to 8. And with 8, he was able to open the Death Gauntlet and check the underwater pickup there behind that second 4 energy door. Does not look like he came up with anything super important. OG is now going to head straight to Swamp. He's just beelining right past that plant. I think you're right. I think he actually is in go mode. I think we're seeing him beeline to trees. And so this is like a little bit of obscure trivia. Grenade, usually only 2 shots. You need 2 grenades to break blue walls, but that's because grenade does 6 damage. Explosion power upgrade doubles the damage grenade deals, so it one-shots those walls now.
Which is very helpful, it just saves a very minuscule amount of time, about a second.
Yeah, it's much nicer for what OG just did than basically anywhere else in the game besides maybe Spider Sack, because it also increases the radius of grenade slightly, and it really feels like there are a couple. That is the wall that OG just broke for the drain, and a couple other are just like sort of precise and hard to hit with grenade. Charge jump is much harder to, or charge flame, excuse me, it is very early in the morning, it's much easier to hit it with because it's just a massive AoE, but when you only have grenade to break those things, it can be a bit tricky. However, with explosion power upgrade and a bit of aim, OG is going to have no problems, and he is going to make his way up to the stomp tree, and he can check everything here, which feels pretty nice.
Yeah, what we are seeing from Sin is that they're going over to a check that I don't believe OG has done, which is Horryfield's health cell, which is a pretty slow check, but not nearly as slow when you have climb and charge jump, because you can just break the floor instead of having to kite the Baneling all the way down.
I don't think OG has
like
checked.
Sin knows that, so he's going for the Baneling anyway.
Yeah, I don't think OG. Ooh, he's too slow to evade the Baneling back here. Side is not worth it.
Avoid. Yeah.
Entirely understandable. I don't actually think we've seen this room that much. Oh, that's interesting. OG finds the swamp teleporter. I don't think he activated that, so that could be really nice. It means that on his return to the Ginso tree, which he will unfortunately have to do, he will be good. He has found 1 keystone, spent 2, so he is net keystone negative from that trip to Stomp, but he has another tree in hand and is 1 key closer to being able to have all the trees he needs. He's circling his health and energy, and now the bottom left corner of the screen with his mouse. Not quite sure what that means, but he's back to Moon Grotto. I think what we're going to see here is a plant revisit. Going to grab all the plants around here. Been spending his ability points. I see people in like 2 minds of this. Some people are like, no, it's really good to get the abilities right away, or I like to forget. Oh, that is huge. That is go mode.
That is definitely go mode. Hopefully we'll see him now just absolutely gunning for trees.
But yeah, that pickup is a little finicky to get with a lot with different skill sets. Double jump is like the intended way to get that, but it's a bit tricky in terms of with charge jump and climb you can do it, but like to do it without damage is a little obnoxious. But with charge jump, you can do it with 1 damage boost, so I'm hoping at some point when Sin heads by there, he'll just decide, whatever, I'll jump on the spikes, or I'll do the precise thing, and ends up grabbing that, because having bash is huge. I think we're going to see Sin get grenade now. I can't tell how many keystones he has, so I don't know if he's going to consider the Ginso play, but yeah, he is going to grab that grenade.
4 keystones. It looks like 4 keystones, so...
It does look like 4 keystones. So
the option for Ginso is definitely open.
Ooh, that is painful death he takes. I'd like to see him like charge jump that Frankie just for the level up, because he is very close to it. We'll see if he does that to the... Yeah, okay. Is he going to grab the experience? Not quite. That's fine. All right, OG is searching for some friendly spikes. He does not find friends. He finds a lot of damage and dying. It's hard to get up to it this way. I think that like he he gets up but does not land on the friendly spikes. There's a small area, we call them friendly spikes here, where the spikes just don't hurt you. You can just stand and it's hilarious. OG trying to show that off for us, but both our runners, it seems, having a bit of trouble with spikes. And, you know, I think Sin doesn't have that. I'm not sure if Sin has regroup because he saved and he's still at 1 health. Maybe I missed something else happening there. OG decides that it's not worth it. He decides to take the long way around, and he's just going to grab the grenade pickup, and now he's back up to 3 keystones. And he's finding a lot of energy. That's 2 just up here alone, which is pretty nice. Sin is successfully activates the teleporter, and now we'll see him maybe make his way to Ginso or continue around this loop. I think either of those would be a pretty decent choice. I think OG is trying to get a save made. Is he trying to break that crystal with?
I think he's trying to save, but he. There we
Okay,
go.
yeah.
He's managed it.
Okay, there we go. For a bit, it looked like he was bashing the shots up to like hit the crystal. And I was like, I'm not sure that works. Then he landed and didn't work. But yeah, he was just trying to get a save there. You can save between those 2 spiders in more of a like. It definitely feels like it shouldn't be allowed given some of the other places the game forbids you from saving. But no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. OG is now progressing backwards up to the spider sack area because it's much better than going around. And I expect to see him clear the stuff here and then maybe head back over the spirit tree and then just head straight into Valley. Sin has 4 keystones and he is headed into Ginso, so we will actually get to see what's on the bash tree this time. If that ends up being something powerful like dash or double jump, we could see Sin in a pretty good spot despite not having bash. But otherwise, I think we will see him fall somewhat behind just due to OG's having bash, which is a good skill.
Now, what I'm finding quite interesting is, despite OG having what could be quite a comfortable go mode, he's still searching for pickups. So what pickups do you reckon he might be searching for?
You know, I think in this situation, when you're 30 minutes into a seed and you're just haven't quite finished up the left side, you've gone into Ginso and then had to back out, maybe you're thinking, well, this has not been a great start, and it would really suck if one of the earlier in logic areas had dash and I just didn't get it. So I think what we'll see is we'll see him check stuff that's been in logic for a decent amount of time, but when he starts to get left side, I might expect him to check a bit less. But it's hard to say for sure what's going on, and in our runner's mind, they could just not be thinking about it completely differently. I know sometimes in a race I'll have like people tell me stuff after and it'll be like, actually I wasn't thinking about that at all because I'm a silly man and have silly thoughts. So we will have to ask afterwards OG at what point he decided this was go mode versus not go mode and what went into that. But for now, we will see him head into Valley.
So we are seeing, since he's heading into Valley, if he is currently thinking about going and progressing to left side, he might have to do a trick with a Frunky to get the Frunky to stomp the peg. Or he could just be here just to check the pickups.
Yeah, there are 3 pickups here. 4 if you include a community least favorite, Valley Long Swim, but that is completely in logic now. He will not get it. He doesn't even get the EXP on the tree.
No.
That is, I think, a bit... I think with charge jump you should probably check that, but he decides he doesn't want to, and that's probably fine. I think we'll now see him. Okay, that's funny. He gets a mega health, and then doesn't grabs another mega health, and it overwrites it. I actually he didn't have a nearby save to make this actually valuable, but one thing that like I think is sort of like a really niche strategy that can be really fun is if you find a mega health, especially one that's near spawn, and you can avoid taking it. Like you reload after, then you can just use a mega health for the final escape and have just 5 extra health for free. And that can be kind of a power play, especially in like skill light escapes where you have to take more damage. And OG is heading back to the Ginso tree armed with his 4 keystones.
It is possible that what OG was searching for is he was just searching for more keystones and deciding to not head to somewhere like Sorrow and just dupe on the door repeatedly to guarantee the keystones.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
might
I
have been
think
why he ulted out of Valley so early.
yeah, I think maybe he just got his 4th keystone, and now, yeah, I think that probably is what was going on there. Ooh, Sin is in this redirect puzzle room. He gets the elbow dropped through the portal in time, but unfortunately, there's a little bit of physics RNG with how it drops down. And what ended up happening was that he did not, it did not, it dropped in such a way that when the shot came through, it hit like the edge of the elbow redirector. Little unfortunate. There's a little bit you can do about that, but it's kind of RNG. Just the physics in this game are not like incredibly. Okay, good. Push it, push it, push it. No.
It's actually I think it's due to like how long you're pushing the rock as it's falling, or the
Yeah.
redirect block. So what
Oh.
they need to be doing is they need to just push the block all the way, because if you push it just a little bit, it falls off like that.
Oh. Huh. I did not know that, but like actually watching the physics of it happen, that makes a bunch of sense. And yeah, I think that is what's going on. Unfortunately for Sin, it is causing him some trouble. His game is running at a much lower frame. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
We're just seeing Stomp from OG, and Sin gets the redirect puzzle, which is extremely helpful. But yeah, currently I think Sin is having some issues with frame rate due to having to run on onboard graphics, so that's going to be losing them a bit of time, unfortunately.
It is indeed unfortunate. Yeah, OG comes back. He got his keystones this time. I think he's going to check this key dupe room and then leave. I would be surprised to see him continue further up, even if he finds 4 keystones. I would not be as surprised to see him key dupe, but yeah, with Stomp, now there's basically just not much. I mean, they still don't have what I like to call aerial horizontality. No dash, no charge flame is not that useful, honestly.
But an extra health cell is pretty helpful, especially for Sorrow. With 6 HP, that means they can damage boost even on the most dangerous spikes in Sorrow.
Yep. And I would be real happy to see OG take the Sorrow teleporter here and just start with his left side go mode. Yeah, he is happy. He has 2 keystones, which means he only needs to do 1 key dupe in the spike cavern area. He is, however, going to backtrack this way. I think this is pretty interesting. It's the main problem with going this way is that he's going to have to Alt R or backtrack if he wants to head into Valley from the Sorrow teleporter, as opposed to going through the key dupe room. But on the other hand, he going this way finds double jump, so I am a liar. This was a great call by OG. Excellent read on the seed. There, he just wanted to grab double jump.
Oh, I think we're seeing OG go for a little trick here, where there's a tiny little micro ledge on top of each of these walls that you can actually stomp on if you get the correct position, and he gets it reasonably quickly, which is something that I definitely find extremely difficult. So well done getting it so fast.
Yeah, on that trick, I just run in there and I hold the 2, or like hold right, and then just spam jump, bash, and stomp in like a desperate attempt to get it to go off. And it takes between 5 and 20 seconds, and I don't know why, and no one else has been able to tell me why either. Just one of those things. There's a more reliable but also slightly like harder to execute version, or not version, but alternate trick where you just you use charge jump, or you use bash, and you like pull a spider shot down, and you just have that hit the wall.
Yeah, but, and you can also even use Stomp to set up your height perfectly for that as well.
Yep.
But what we are seeing here is OG going back through the same way that he's just been, because of course even though there's a keystone door coming heading into charge jump, keystone doors only work one way, so you can't get through that. So he has to go all the way around, all the way back, which I think might still be faster than alt-Ring even, but I'm not 100% sure.
I'm not sure. I think because they don't have dash, it probably is. Dash significantly reduces the time it takes to get to the Sunken Glades teleporter. And OG having double jump, like because he chose this path, is paying off massively. He got that extra double jump in Death Gauntlet, so that is really nice to have. It makes a lot of his movement a lot safer, and it's going to mean that his final escape is incredibly comfortable. If you're OG right now, you're thinking, I am in a great place as far as go mode goes. I have clean water, I have 6 energy, I have 3 jumps. Literally the only skill he's missing is dash. I would expect him to be in go mode at this point.
Yeah, it does seem so. He's been skipping a few pickups, probably heading straight for the remaining few trees. He's only missing climb, tree, and grenade at the moment, and both of which he has all of the skills needed to get there.
Well, without dash, he's going to have to either zombie Ori or grenade jump into the grenade area, but I do not expect that to be much of a problem. Actually, he could use the triple jump method. There are lots of ways he has into grenade. I don't think we're going to see OG worried about his approach in. However, he has been spending his because he's been spending his ability points pretty regularly. He is going to, I can't see that number. It looks like a 3. If that is only 3 ability points and he doesn't see more, we may have to see him choosing between progression towards or potentially getting triple jump versus having enough save anywhere points or enough points to save anywhere like 3 times, because he needs 3, 1 for each, or 2 for the zombie Ori in the usual case, and then 1 to skip the cutscene afterwards. But if he does do that grenade jump, he will be fine, because he will only have to he will only need to do 1 save anywhere for the cutscene skip, and that would get him triple jump if that's where he's at on the ability tree. But yeah,
we are seeing him doing triple jumps, but that is because he earlier picked up the extra double jump. So if he did get the triple jump upgrade, he would end up with a quad jump, which is just extremely helpful. Just so nice for movement, especially when you have bash and you can just glide for an extremely long time.
Yeah, bash gliding with 4 jumps is just it's such a nice feeling. I don't have the words to describe it. It just feels good. It's like you do these little hops, you're going so fast, and everything is just under control, and it's fine. And then you glide into like a Bane lane and die instantly. But it's fine because you have quad jump.
We're seeing Sin heading to the stomp tree, which I don't believe currently they have enough skills for them to consider go mode, because they're still missing bash, which was the 200 XP by the grotto teleporter. But that is it's in such an interesting location that I'm not sure they'll go back and check it so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, so the thing is that yeah, the thing is, it really depends on whether or not Sin is comfortable with that damage boost or knows that charge jump off the wall spot. Because basically what it comes down to is that Sin is at some point going to realize, I don't have a lot of skills that I would like to for go mode, and I would like to have so when he realizes he doesn't have enough skills, he's going to be doing some cleanup, and Grotto is just a pretty good place. Like, the Grotto TP is a good place to start most cleanup paths from, for a couple of different reasons, one of which is that there's just a lot of plants there he hasn't checked. It's a good hub to get into swamp and to check like the area around Iceless. So I could see him going there and just going across and checking that because it's right there. But we'll have to see when that happens. All right, so
what
OG...
we are seeing from OG, yes, is the zombie Ori. He did do a backup save, so even if this goes wrong, he's still safe.
Oh, this
looks like he did it slightly off on timing, but he's got it fine. He's made it through. Now all he needs to do is head to the tree.
Yeah, that was actually a really interesting sort of like pseudo failure case. That could have been bad if he'd done it a bit later. He actually spaced out his saves really well, but I don't think he was holding left the whole time. So as a result, like, the laser cycle looked like it was going through all the way, and then it was coming back around again and hitting him. So that could have been bad if he didn't have the horizontal progress, because he would have had to load his backup or spend both of his ability points to make it through the second cycle. But he is able to get through, which is good, and he is in a good place. All right, this is interesting. Sin is going to Sorrow. We'll see if he picks up that double jump, depending on what route he takes. Without Bash, though, I would be surprised to see him go that way, which is really unfortunate, because that means that lack of Bash is just going to sort of compound into more issues, because now that double jump spot is unlikely to be checked by him. So he can check the right side trees and will probably, or left side trees, excuse me, will probably end up doing so. But without bash and without double jump, it's going to be a slow and obnoxious process for him. Meanwhile, he's got everything he needs, and he is heading to that final escape. He is drawing a frowny face.
He's maybe not too pleased with his play with that, but
I think the frowny
it's
face
been more than good enough.
I think the frowny face might have been about the fact that he has to use the Moon Grotto teleporter, perhaps. I think Sin got the Swamp teleporter, OG did not. And yeah, we did see a bit of a sticky keys death, you might call it, from Sin, which is trademark hashtag unlucky, but that's a bit funny. OG tries to set up a Kurosia skip, doesn't get it, does get a hilarious bounce off the pad, and we are informed that Kuro is still hunting the woods blinded by hate, which is sort of a weird way to describe unhappy about her children being murdered. But, you know, the spirit tree is entitled to his creative license and or propaganda, I guess. Sin has checked the Sunstone plant. He is now just contemplating things on the top of Mount Sorrow. A good place for contemplation, honestly. He might be changing the settings that caused him that death earlier. That is what I actually expect is happening, but it's fun to meme about. Sorrow is a pretty place. We don't often see the top of Sorrow with Horu in the background. What I find interesting about that little vista is that you don't see the Ginso tree, despite in terms of in-game coordinates. The Ginso tree is twice as tall as Mount Horu. It just sort of basically stretches up and touches the sky. Very big, probably an incredible safety hazard. If that tree falls, it's going to crush half of Nibel. But it isn't falling, and that's what's important.
What we're seeing from OG is he's going for door warp, one frame trick to skip the longest dungeon in the game. So here we go. He's having a few more tries than what we want to see at this point, but he's got the time to do it. Yeah,
he doesn't know that though. So OG might be a little worried because he doesn't know what's been going on with Sin, what with the lag and the sticky keys and the different routing choices. But he gets a fourth try door warp, and I hope he's not too nervous. We get a little instant replay of that door warp. Thank you to our restreamer to do. And yeah, we are going to see him start the final escape, and that is probably going to wrap this up as a win for OG. As Sin is currently working on a Sorrow Descent.
So we're seeing OG. We might hopefully be seeing some additional grenade jumps, but I'm not sure. It doesn't look like he's going for the one in the first room.
I don't know. I think I would be surprised to see it just because we didn't see him doing a lot of grenade jump. I think a good predictor of whether or not players are going to go for the extra grenade jumps in the final escape, IMO, is whether or not they incorporate them into casual movement throughout the seed. And OG had access to grenade jumps for a while, and he did not bother. So I'm expecting to only see the final escape grenade jump out of him.
He does of course have clean water, so he doesn't have to worry about health through the swim. Just has to make it through this trigger. Does it nice and safely. All he has to do now is one final grenade jump.
Oh, he doesn't even bother. All right, OG is not in a grenade jumping mood, and he will just hold right, and that is going to be a good game for him.
Yes, well done to OG.
Yeah. Definitely good performance coming out from OG. We saw a little bit of trouble with that Ginso, the 3 Keystone Ginso, but sometimes you take a gamble and it doesn't pay off, right? There were 6 pickups there. He only needed 1 Keystone, and it was not really a terrible call in any way to go into Ginso. It was a risky call, but he would have saved a bunch of time and ended up with Stomp much earlier if he'd gone for that. I think the only thing that I think might have been an improvement is just going to Sorrow before Ginso and taking the same route he would have, but doing a bit of key duping. Yeah,
I think that would have been a good plan. Get the guaranteed keys instead of having to search multiple areas and hope for a random keystone in the right place.
Yeah. But I mean,
Well,
what he did worked out for him, and I don't think it is going to be a huge concern. He is now done with a final time of 52:31.99. And yeah, that will put him to 1-2. Unfortunately, that does drop Sin to 0-3, meaning that Sin cannot progress to brackets. Did talk to Sin before the match, and he was pretty sure that's what's going to happen anyways. However, these technical issues he's having definitely don't feel great, and wish him good future runs, because he does still get 2 matches in the Swiss rounds. So I hope his next 2 rounds are more enjoyable and finishable. Sin, it looks like, is forfeiting the run.
it looks like Sin is deciding, with all of the technical issues that they're having, that they don't want to finish up.
Yeah, I think Sin is going to decide not to finish this, which is completely understandable. The game is not fun to play at 20 FPS. And it's, yeah, definitely, honestly, big props to him for playing this out as much as he did, because this is just an extremely frustrating situation to be in, honestly. Just like, you're going to start your race, and then your graphics card dies. What are you going to do? And I think he did a good job. It looks like we have both of our runners on deck for an interview. I'm going to pull them into the Discord chat. All right. Hello, GG to both of you.
GG.
Yeah. All right. So, OG, congrats on your victory. So we were just talking actually about one of the more interesting points in the seed. Can you tell us what was on your mind when you went into the Ginso tree with 3 keystones? And then tell us what was on your mind about 2 minutes and 30 seconds later when you left the Ginso tree with 3 keystones.
When I left the Ginso tree with
All
3
right.
keystones,
Hello, GG to both
I
of
was
you.
very aware of soft locking. I was like, I'm just gonna kill the mini boss. I'm gonna save, and then I'm gonna leave. Normally, Ginso's got at least 1 keystone. Normally, it's a little bit nice. Unfortunately, this seed it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, you got 6 tries, and sometimes none of them come up, and that's not much to say, but unlucky. At what point did you consider yourself in go mode, skills-wise?
I'm not sure. I feel like a lot of the time I was gated more on the keystones, and it took me a while. Like, as soon as I got to Bash Tree, after that I started thinking, okay, so now I'm gonna need another 4 more for Sorrow, completely forgetting that obviously I've got the Sorrow TP and you don't need any keystones for that.
We noticed that when you decided to go to Sorrow, you went the left way instead of and then I ended up getting you double jump. Is that the way that you normally go in the situation where you don't have Valley TP, and you could have gone down and used the glide area, the spike cave to go back? Oh, is that the normal route that you would do, or is that something that you did, especially if you have Bash?
That is the normal way that I go, because in a lot of seeds I'll have Bash, double jump, stomp, and it's just not enjoyable trying to go around the right hand side. So yeah, I guess left hand side is a bit more habit for me, coming from Sorry Teleporter into Charge Jump Tree.
All right. That definitely makes sense, and it definitely paid off a lot. That double jump must have been like really comfortable to find and then have. All right, Sin, GG to you too. I know that this almost certainly wasn't the race you wanted, what with the technical issues you had, but you put up, I think, a pretty great performance. How were you feeling in the early game when you realized that you needed to go back and grab a keystone from BRB?
At first I want to say sorry because of all of that with technical stuff, but well, it happens. And the keystone, my routing at the beginning was very linear. I thought I'd check with all my limited stuff. I had the thought in mind I have to visit every area at least twice anyway, so I left some stuff out and went back when I had to. So that was my thought process in the first few skills and pickups there.
Yeah, it almost worked out really well, but you ended up absolutely needing every single keystone that BRB had to offer, which ended up being a little unfortunate. But yeah, and honestly, I don't think you shouldn't apologize about the tech issues. It is really unfortunate, and there's really not much you can do about your graphics card just randomly dying on you. So unlucky, honestly. So looking forward, you guys are now 1-2. OG, that means that you have 2 more matches that if you win both, you make it to brackets. Sin, sadly, you are now 0-3. You still get 2 more matches in the bracket stage. What are you looking for out of those matches, if anything?
I'll let OG first.
Okay. Well, I'm happy that I won. I was sort of looking forward to those, not like troll matches, but matches where I don't have to worry as much and I can go, oh, I've got bash and I've got charge jump. I'm gonna sack 30 seconds and I'm going to do this really dumb wall jump from Gilua or whatever. But I would much prefer get into the brackets than play those games. So
for my point, I never even really had high expectations of getting much there. I mean, it would be nice if I win a single match, but as I jokingly said, sometimes if there's more than another person than me who goes 0-5, I'll fight them and get the 0-6 on my own. So that's my point.
One more question for both of you. Are there any particular matchups that you could be going into that you are either looking forward to or are particularly concerned about in the upcoming matches?
Again, OG first.
Hold on. Can I pull up the challenge page really quick? Because we're the first 0-2 match, so Sin doesn't really have, Sil doesn't really have anyone to
That's true. It's worth noting that Hydra is currently in a 0-2 match, which means one of you is going to have Hydra in your pool, and either way, that sounds horrifying. So,
yeah, can't
maybe
wait.
someone to avoid.
Either way, I won't go down alone.
Valid. That is in fact entirely valid.
I'll take people with me.
All right. I think that'll do it for us, from us for this race. Our next match is in the Blind Forest Randomizer Tournament is going to be Infinite versus Fluffy at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Speed Gaming 2. There's nothing coming up next on Speed Gaming 1, but there's going to be a lot more Ori in general today, this week, these next few weeks. We are only in week 3 out of 5 of the bracket stage, so tune in for more Ori. And thank you for watching. Thank you to our tech crew, to our trackers, Nans and Snoop, to our restreamer Dedu, and my wonderful co-commenter, Mad Insane, and of course our runners.
And thank you to you as well, Aiko. It was wonderful commentating with you.
Yeah. All right. Well, goodbye, everybody.